Hello.
Morning again.
Our website has got this, like, it's called a dashboard. You know, like you get in the Jeep, but on a computer.
Does it tell you how fast you're going?
It tells us all sorts of stuff. But it sent me a notification the other day saying that apparently, this is the website, not me, on Google we were trending.
Really?
The search term, "Where are foxes afloat?" was trending on Google.
See, you disappear for 2 weeks and the world panics.
It's true, isn't it? Do you ever Google yourself?
Oh, God, no.
That's not a euphemism.
What are you looking at over there?
I'm over there. Don't you ever Google yourself?
No.
I've got to admit I do sometimes. It's quite nice. And I found this thing apparently on a forum that said, is it true that Colin from Foxes Afloat used to be in the Chippendales?
What, the dancers?
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was getting all excited. So I clicked on it and apparently the discussion was about the Chipmunks cartoon.
Chippendale!
That burst my bubble, I tell you.
Chippendale! Oh, brilliant.
Have you calmed down a bit?
I have.
We have missed a couple of weeks' vlogs, and if you follow us on social media, you'll know why, but quite a lot of you don't, so we thought we'd better come and explain what's happened.
Yes.
So this is like our video version of a sick note.
A sick note?
Isn't it? I'm getting dripped on. If you wonder what all these marks are, I'm getting dripped.
We're under a tree.
We're under a tree. A few weeks ago, we did a vlog. I don't know if you remember, and it was about kidney stones. Do you remember my 6mm kidney stone? A 6mm kidney stone.
6mm?
6mm kidney stone. And we were sat not here, about 8 feet that way.
Yes.
And I said that it was all right because it wasn't trapped and it wasn't causing an obstruction. Do you remember me saying that?
I remember that.
It's not trapped, it's not causing an obstruction. Well, it was. It was stuck and it was causing a blooming obstruction.
Yeah, it was.
It was getting very, 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 very painful. I'm getting covered. By the time this vlog's finished, this hoodie's going to be a different colour.
It will.
It's going to be like somebody's weed all over me.
Ugh.
And it was very painful. So, to cut a long story short, they actually booked me in for an emergency operation. And I thought, yay!
Yes.
And I was sat there in my gown, all ready to go. Lovely gowns as well. Just a few stains at the bottom, not mine though. And the surgeon came out. He says, "Right," he says, "we're going to vaporise the stone. We're going to put a little stent in your urethra, Aretha Franklin, not urethra. That's the tube that brings it outside. This is your ureter, which is the one that connects your bladder to your kidney."
It is.
It says we're going to vaporise the stone. It will just disappear into vapour, into sand. It says then we'll put a stent in, and that will kind of take care of the swelling and everything. Yeah. And then in 2 weeks, come back, we'll take the stent out, job done.
Yeah.
Sounds simple, doesn't it? Yeah. Until I was just about to go into theatre, and he came back out and said, "Colin, the machine's broken. We can't vaporise the stone, but we're going to put the stent in anyway, and that should get rid of the pain." So I was like, well, all right then. And then he says, come back in a couple of weeks when the machine's working. We'll vaporise the stone, take that out and the stent, and job done. Yeah. And I was like, well, yeah, that's fine. Fair enough. As long as it gets done, I'm all right. So they took me in, knocked me out, put the stent in. And when I came round, something wasn't right, was it? He heard all the way up here, about an hour and a half away from him, but he could hear the screaming, couldn't you?
I could.
I was screaming I nearly said boy nipples off then, I can't say that, can I? I was screaming my head off. Something wasn't right. And to cut a long story short, too late, I was having a really bad reaction to the stent.
Yes.
Really bad. And the next few weeks, between then and a few days ago, have just been the worst. Now, the last you saw of us, we were at the wee house in
The wee
Wales.
house!
It's a lovely wee house. All I was doing was stood there for about 15 minutes talking like I am now.
Yep.
And that put me back in hospital for 2 days. Just doing that.
Hence the vlog stopped.
Hence the vlog stopped. And they kind of knew that something was going wrong. And they did another scan and they found that the stone was stuck. It had actually gone back into my kidney, but I was having a really bad reaction to the stent and where it was sitting and how it was sitting. It was really aggravating the nerves, especially in my kidney and in my bladder. Oh, bladder. Do you remember the vlog where we said that man used to hit the king over his head with his bladder?
I do,
That was
yes,
funny,
I do.
that, wasn't it? I can't remember that one. And yeah, it was really bad. So bad that I was on the bathroom floor most of the time, screaming and being sick and passing out and in and out of hospital.
It wasn't good.
It wasn't good at all. And 4 weeks I had to do that, which is why there's been no vlogs. Now, I think we need to do a little bit of a sensitivity warning for this bit.
Why you're not showing things, are you?
Don't worry, it's nothing too gory. It's just that some of you have got delicate tummies, I know that. So the first thing I did before we set off to the hospital was a little bit of housekeeping, just so that he's got a nice tidy working environment. Well, you would, wouldn't you? I bought him a box of chocolates and a bottle of scotch so that he'd be careful down there. Well...
How could you be careful after a bottle of scotch?
No, to drink after. I made that very clear as well, that he had to share it with the anaesthetist, but after the operation. And then we sat down and we talked about the operation. And the first thing he said is, I've got to put a stent in there for another 4 weeks. And I was like, no way. After what I've been going through, there's no way I'm having another stent in there. And he says, well, there is another way. He says, I can put a 24-hour stent in, which you have to pull out yourself.
Ugh.
Now it's going in, yeah. And I said, well, it's 24 hours. I can bear 24 hours. And that was it. I went down for the operation. And the first thing I remember is coming round and calling one of the nurses Brian. And I don't think she was very impressed.
I don't think I would be.
No. But then I remembered this energy coming back and feeling actually really good. And the first thing that came in my mind is, why did I call her Brian? She's going to hate me for that. Then why did I spend £40 on a bottle of scotch when he might have ruptured something in there? But I actually felt really good. And then he came to see me and I said, does everything go okay? He says, yeah. He says, we've vaporised the stone. Yes, it's gone.
Gone?
He says it's not just like broken up, because some procedures break it up into smaller pieces. This one, not vaporised. It had gone.
Powder?
Yeah. And it was trapped. I'll explain a little bit later, but it was trapped inside my kidney. It had gone back in my kidney. But he says, we've vaporised it. He says, I've put a new stent in. He says, it's coming out via a bit of wire, which I could feel. And
wire?
I had a question about that. He said, but yeah, all a success. There's no other kidney stones in there. Everything's fine, and we'll pull this out tomorrow. Something to look forward to. Now, I didn't get much sleep that night for a few reasons. The first reason, what? The first reason was that my ward mates, we had Mr. Farty back, and he actually pooed himself. We had Mr. Coffin, not with his hand over his mouth. I really hate that when they don't
when
put
people cough.
Really, really coughing. And then we had an interesting one who I've not met before, Mr. Let's empty my stoma all over the bed every few hours, which was fun, because if you've ever followed Sean into the toilet before, I mean, the trauma of that can be bad enough, but this guy, wow, I've never smelt anything like it in my life. So that was like 2 or 3 trips to the shower and a change of bed for him during the night. So I didn't get any sleep at all. But the worst thing was the stent. Now, the stent wasn't actually causing me much pain inside like the last one was. It must have been placed a little bit differently.
It was the cheese wire.
It was the cheese wire, and I'm going to show you it. This is the actual stent that he took out of me, that he pulled out of me. So this is the stent. So that's the bit with the wire on it. So this bit goes in my kidney, like that. That bit goes in my kidney, like that. And then this bit goes down to my bladder. And it kind of curls up, and the curl stops it from coming out. Now, you probably can't see this on the camera, but you can. There's a wire. If I put it against my hand, you might be able to see it. You can see the wire. It literally is like
cheese wire.
Like cheese wire, isn't it? It is so thin. And that was coming out of my disco stick.
Disco stick?
Yeah. Now, the thing was, this is the sensitivity warning bit, is that it was coming out of my disco stick, and then he taped it to the inside of my leg. And he left a little hoop about that much. I don't know if you can see that. He left a little hoop coming out. Now, that was fine while I was laid there and not moving. But every time I got up or moved, it kind of pulled. Which was a little bit uncomfortable. And it really got uncomfortable when I did actually fall asleep at about 4 o'clock in the morning. I just kind of started nodding off. Now, I'm going to try not to be too rude, but
This happens to every man.
this happens to every man. It kind of, things happen.
It rises.
It rises, and the only way I can describe it is, imagine you go fishing and you're out on a little boat in a lake with your fishing rod, and you're holding your fishing rod, and the hook grabs the catch of your life, and so
Pulls it.
and so the fishing wire was literally pulling, which woke me up immediately, which was very painful. And the nurse came running in because she could hear the obvious distress, and said, "Give it a slap, give it a flick."
Give it a slap.
Now, just that conversation alone was enough, and disaster was averted. I'm sorry I had to repeat that. And then things were all right. And the surgeon came back a few hours later and literally just pulled it out. So he grabs hold of it and literally just pulled it out like that, which was the most uncomfortable 5 seconds for a while.
Oh, God.
But the relief was kind of instant. And I was allowed home later that day, which was yesterday.
It was. All done.
The reason it formed is I have a little kink. Well, that's obvious, but not that type of kink.
The kink's in there.
At the top of my ureter, which is the tube that goes from your bladder to your kidney. Now, at the top, there's a little kink in my tube.
Like a kink in a hose pipe.
And it means that that kidney doesn't flow as much and as quickly as my other kidney. So the flow rate of urine down into my bladder is a lot slower. And what it's done is, over time, that means that any tiny little crystals that naturally form, that you would normally pee away, got stuck. And of course, over time, because it's stuck, it just kind of builds and adds to it and grew. And the reason it never passed is because of the kink in my tube. So it would never have passed ever. It would have just stuck there and caused more and more pain, which is what it did. So he's gone in and he's got it, he's vaporised it, and it's all flushed away. And he also checked both my kidneys with the camera and a scan, and there's no other stones. So it's not like I'm going to develop other stones. All I need to do is exactly what I'm doing, but just maybe drink a little bit more water, and that will just keep flushing it away. So for the people that are saying you need to do this, you need to eat this, you need to stop eating this, it's not applicable. My diet's
Rubbish.
fine, it's just a little kink. If it gets too bad, I can have a little operation and that will straighten it out, but I don't need that because it's not that bad.
No, because that's quite a big operation.
Yeah. The other things people were saying is, ask your doctor to do this or ask your surgeon to do that. You can't diagnose over social media. Oh my God, please don't do that. I trust the doctors. The NHS staff have been absolutely amazing.
They always are.
They're underfunded, they're overworked, they're understaffed. They deserve a hell of a lot more than they get in. But they did me absolutely proud, and proud of our NHS. So for the people saying, in our country we do this and in our country we do that, that's fine. But I'm proud of our NHS.
Yep.
And I wouldn't change it for anything. Are we done?
I think we're done.
I think we're done. So
Can we get on with life now?
that's our video sit note. Things hopefully getting back to normal.
Yeah.
There's going to be a normal vlog every Friday from now on. We're going to start cracking on with the train barn. I've got some adventures to go and start filming. Autumn's here, the winter's on the way, so the footage is going to be absolutely amazing.
Yes.
I'm sorry we missed a couple of weeks' vlogs and that you had to find something else to watch.
Is there out there?
But we'll be back to normal. If you are not already, please subscribe to our channel because we've got lots of good things on the way again.
Yes.
Give this video a thumbs up, and if you hit the notifications bell, YouTube will let you know every time we release a new vlog, which should now be every Friday.
At 4 o'clock.
Yay! At last. If you want to support the channel, and that would be appreciated.
Because there's tons more of this rubbish.
Because we've missed a few vlogs, so we've lost a bit of money and we've got blooming massive electric bills coming.
Oh, God, I dread to think.
Hit the link which is above Sean's head. It's in the video description if you can't see it above his head.
Up there or down
Become
there.
a Patreon member or a YouTube member. Yeah?
Aye.
Anything to add?
Ta-ra.
So blunt, are you? We'll see you next week. Take care of yourself. Bye.
Ta-ra.